Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
So a few weeks ago, I had the real fortunate opportunity to have two great people in the studio at once. The General Inspector of the Labor Department, former Congressman and dear friend Anthony D'Esposito, and Keith Sonderling, who was the acting Secretary of Labor. And last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago when I was away, President Trump now has nominated Sonderling to be the full-time, take off the temporary, not the interim, make him the Secretary of Labor, which is a huge deal. Keith is a great guy. I love him. So congratulations, Keith Sonderling, and welcome back to Sid Friends in the Morning.
Thank you so much. I was so excited for you to hear about the news when President Trump announced it. And as you know, I have been working for the president since 2017, doing his labor policy, and now to be able to lead the Labor Department as the permanent secretary is the honor of my lifetime. And we're going to just continue to make sure that American workers get the first and best opportunity to get these jobs in this incredible economy that the president promised to create and has delivered on.
So where were you? What were you doing when President Trump reached out and said, okay, Keith, this one's yours?
I was in Manchester, New Hampshire. We had just finished up a full day of going around Manchester. First, we visited a community college where they were teaching students how to weld, and they actually let me put on a welding hat and try to weld myself, which, Sid, is, as you know, is something they don't teach us in Boca. But I was able to put it on. I'll send you a picture when we're off. It's on Sonderling 47 on Twitter. But and then you're really just talking about all these jobs the president has created. You know, the rebuilding American infrastructure to get people more in manufacturing. It has to happen in community college. So the Department of Labor is partnering with community colleges around the country to get these types of skills back, you know, for shop, for HVAC, for plumbing. So I was visiting that. Then I was able to visit a manufacturer in New Hampshire that was building submarine parts. So we were just having a great day talking about the president's policies and how it's impacting areas like in New Hampshire. Then we were at the airport ready to board our flight, and the flight was delayed. So fortunately, that delay must have been sent by Hashem himself, because during that delay, the president called me and said that he was going to nominate me for the job while I was standing in the Manchester airport. So how about
awesome.
That for a story?
That is awesome. And it was not just Manchester. You also did Florida. You mentioned Boca Raton, but I know you were in Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg and Orlando. Our good buddy Anthony Cumia, who does a show on Sunday nights, he lives in Greenville, South Carolina. You were there too. And you also toured manufacturing facilities all across Northeast Pennsylvania. So you spent the last couple of weeks, Keith, really going around the country looking to make sure that these jobs are flourishing here in America.
Yeah, and since I saw you, I've been on the road almost every single day, and we're going around and we're seeing how President Trump's policies, we're seeing how the trillions of dollars of investments that the president has personally brought back has really impacted American workers. And we see just an excitement of everywhere we go, because these jobs are coming back, and these are jobs that were lost. You know, think about the manufacturing jobs, the made in America. Everyone wants American-made products, and now it's just shipped overseas. So the president has brought those back. We see those historic investments. And for my job, the Department of Labor, is to make sure that not only American workers are getting these jobs, but they're skilled and trained in their local communities to get these jobs. And that's really what I was able to see. The other thing we were out doing, and we've been doing, as you know, it's been 1 year since the president's working family tax cuts has passed. So we're really seeing the benefits of that. No tax on tips. So when I go to restaurants, you see all these restaurant workers, waiters, waitresses, maitre d's, everyone's happy because they're making more money in tips because more people are spending, and they're keeping that money without having to pay tax. When I visit plants. We see more overtime happening because of the increased production. 6 months straight, the manufacturing index has increased, reversing its decline from the Biden administration, which was down every single month. So there's more overtime out there, and when they get more overtime, they're not being taxed on that as well. So we're just seeing the benefits of the working family tax cuts. We're seeing the benefits of the president's policy, and that's why it's so important for us to leave D.C., to go to these places around the country where these policies are really hitting home.
Keith Sonderling, who has recently been nominated to be the Secretary of Labor full-time, he's already done a tremendous job for President Trump the last, 9 years. You know, Keith, yesterday President Trump did something pretty cool. He rang the opening bell from the Oval Office in the White House. Very cool. And he was there basically to pump up Trump accounts. And we know that a lot of the Trump account stuff really speaks to the younger generation, kids like you all across America who are parents of young children looking to make sure that their futures are steadied here in America. What are your thoughts on what you saw yesterday, the opening bell, Trump accounts from the White House?
Well, two things. One, Sid, I think you'd much rather have him come to the New York Stock Exchange to ring the bell there, because I'm sure if you would go, and I'm sure if he saw you, he would make you come up and ring the bell with him.
He usually does that. Yeah. You're very good, Keith. He usually calls me up on stage, and it's so silly because when I heard he was ringing the opening bell, I'll be honest with you, I sent him a text yesterday morning, and I said, you're going to be down on Wall Street. Maybe we can bump into each other this morning before you head to Turkey. So I was under the impression he was doing just that, heading to Wall Street. I had no idea he was doing it at the White House.
And they brought him a special bell, and I don't know if you saw the press conference.
I did.
It's a big gold bell, and he says he's not sure if that's a bell going back to New York, but it's not leaving the White House. So I can assure you there is no way that bell is ever coming back to New York. It's historic. But, yeah, it was a great day ringing in Trump accounts. And this is just such an incredible program for families with young children. I signed both my kids up yesterday, 4.5 and 1.5-year-old, for their Trump accounts. But for those kids who were born from January 1st, 2025 through the president's term, through the end of 2028, the extra benefit is that they're going to get $1,000 paid for by generous donations from, obviously Michael Dell and his wife have committed to giving $1,000 to newly born kids.
Well, by the way, now that you brought them up, Michael and Susan, they're an amazing couple, are they not? Amazing.
Yes. Amazing. And the fact that they're doing this just to help kids grow wealthy, the fact that they can get $1,000 invested in American companies. And that's also what's so special, is that this money that you put in and this money that is going to be put in for you if your kids qualify by generous people like Michael and Susan Dell and other very wealthy people and companies who are committed to this is going to go back into the American market. So it's going to be invested in American companies. So it's a dual win for the kids, to get that $1,000, to watch it grow over time, teach kids about financial literacy, teach kids about compound interest, but also that money is now being reinvested in the American economy in premier American companies. So if you go to your app store and you download Trump accounts, the app, you'll see how to sign up. It's very easy, but also there's a lot of financial literacy in there, teaching the basics, and it also shows you where the money is going to great American companies. So it's just a win-win. As you know, President Trump ran on making America wealthy again, and he's doing this now by building generational wealth for younger children, and no president and no administration has ever thought to do that before. And that's why, President Trump, when he promises to do something, he delivers, and this is probably one of the most unique ways to do that we've ever seen.
Let's talk about NATO for a second, because, making money, the oil prices are going down now. It's this Iran war is still going on. Iran once again fired at the ships on the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, but oil prices have come down and inflation has come down. Interest rates, Warsh is relatively new in that role. We got to wait to see that. But the economy certainly has indicated that it has improved. It's improved already, even though the war is not officially over. Now he goes to NATO, of course, and he wants to make sure that Europe, pays their end of the bill, wants to make sure that all these European countries allocate 5% towards defense. And I spoke to Bill White earlier, the ambassador for Belgium. They've already done it. Many other European countries have done it as well. So when you talk about what's the ideal person to to lead this country? Is it a politician or a businessman? Clearly, the money-making businessman is the right guy for the job, yes?
Absolutely, and that's what he did in his first term and what he's doing in his second term. And I think the key is when you look at all these international agencies, this is the president is just tired of getting ripped off. He's tired of America paying the largest share of all these organizations and other countries not paying their fair share as well. So I think that's always been a message and always something that he has when he goes over there, whether it's the NATO or whether it's the UN, he shows these other countries how much more the U.S. is paying than the other countries, and that we continue to bear the burden on this, which of course is fine, but it has to be on a level playing field, and America has to be represented properly in this. And I have no doubt he's going to deliver that strong message, including making sure that our NATO allies are on the same page he is, especially with, the conflicts overseas. And I know he will deliver that message strongly. And as he did in his first term, just getting these other countries to pay up.